Hello, everyone. How are you? I am in bed on ice, but I wanted to come live for you guys because I'm live every day and I didn't want you to miss me. So I am in bed on ice, but here we go. I wanted to play the other one, the text me when you get home, but I think it's a TV show. And hey there, Romy too. Hey, Step. And I didn't want them to claim it because it's on Film Rise. So I think it's a TV show. So I'm gonna try this one. And let's go.
Southwest District 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Somebody's been attacked in my house.
Somebody's been what?
Attacked.
What's the address?
Home. 17784 Lady Drive.
They attacked who? Who was attacked? Someone get fires.
Mel Pleskovic. Mel Pleskovic was attacked.
He was attacked by whom? Do you know?
No, we just came home. She's on the kitchen floor. I took her son and my daughter outside. Her husband is inside with her.
So the husband attacked her?
No. We just came home.
You came home and found her injured on the floor?
We found her in the kitchen. She's not moving. I took the kids and I walked outside. I didn't know.
So did she look like she was beaten or what?
She has blood all around her. I didn't look. I grabbed the child and left.
Okay, hold on.
So we have two small kids.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to get fire going. Hold on a moment.
It began like the plot from a horror film, with masked men peering through the windows of an ordinary suburban house and the chilling sound of door handles being turned in the night. Then, right on script, the strange occurrences that terrorized a strong family from 2016 to 2017 culminated with a horrific murder in the kitchen of the family home, and a twist so shocking not even those closest to the family believed it to be true. Welcome to Fear Files, where we discuss and dissect the most mysterious, terrifying, and mind-bending cases from all over the world. Before we start, we would like to send our thoughts and prayers to the loved ones of Melinda Pleskovic, who tragically lost her life in such a savage and senseless way. Ohio, located just 21 miles southwest of Cleveland near the Canadian maritime border. Strongsville is full of small-town markets, just minutes from fishing lakes, rivers, and mountain trails. With a violent crime rate 89% lower than the national average, it is also a town where people can leave their doors unlocked, knowing that their homes are safe. Theft, burglaries, violent crimes, these things happen to other neighborhoods, or at least they used to, until 2017, when a whole new brand of evil landed and took root in this quiet Midwestern town. On the evening of October 23, 2017, 3 separate 911 calls were made from a Blazing Star Drive home in Strongsville.
Sir? Hi. Okay. All right. I have the medics and police responding, okay? All right. I need to get... There's a lot of blood? Okay.
I only got a piece of her, but I'm not...
How do you know this woman? Is she...
I'm my fiance's mother.
It's your fiance's mother. Okay. If she, had anybody trying to harm her, harass her, anything like that?
No.
Okay. Do you have a dog that lives at that house?
We have two. We have two dogs.
Okay. Are the dogs there or you don't know?
I don't know. We just walked in the front door.
Okay, because we got a phone call from somebody who found a dog that belongs at your residence. That's why I'm thinking the dog got out, okay? What is your name?
He's right here. I have him. My name's Jeff. I'm Jeff Cohen.
Spell your last name, Jeff.
Bullin.
Okay. Who's talking to you right now?
That's Bruce Pleskovic. She's her husband. We just came home together.
Okay, and what's Bruce telling you? Is she conscious?
She said there's multiple stab wounds, and he's on the phone with somebody else.
Okay, she's got multiple stab wounds.
That's what he just came out and told me. We hear the ambulance.
Okay, they're coming, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Do you see any, forced entry or anything to the house?
I'm outside. The door was locked.
The door was locked?
The front door was locked.
Okay. Okay. All right. Are you guys all outside right now?
I'm outside. Bruce is inside, I think. I don't know where he is. He's running in and out. I don't know what's going on.
He was running in and out? Okay. I have a male. There's 2 males here and 2 children right now.
I'm outside by the red truck.
Okay. Okay. You didn't see any weapons or anything, correct?
No, I barely saw her. I walked in and I grabbed.
You saw the blood and you ran. Okay.
I ran outside. I called the police.
Okay. Okay, Jeff. I'm going to stay on the phone with you until officers and the medics are there. Okay. All right.
All right.
Did Bruce say if does he think she's alive or he doesn't know?
I don't know. She said she's been stabbed.
Okay. And he went back in. He ran out and then ran back in.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He ran out looking for Kyle as well.
Okay. Who's Kyle? Who's Kyle?
She's Bruce's son. Bruce's son.
And how old is Kyle?
I don't know how old he is.
Is he an adult?
He's older. He's in high school. He's in high school. He's constant. We can't speak or talk.
He has Downs?
Something's wrong with her. I don't know. Hello?
Hey. All right, Jeff, was that an officer or the medics? The police are there?
The police.
Okay. All right, Jeff, I'm going to go ahead and hang up with you, okay? Who's Kyle? He has Down syndrome. Is he there?
Yeah, he's standing right next to me.
He's standing next to you. Kyle is. Okay.
I have him in my car right now.
I just wanted to make sure we didn't have a missing male. Okay. All right, sir. Just wait and talk to the officers, Jeff. Thanks for your help, okay? You did good, okay? And I'm sorry for the circumstances, okay? All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right.
The first caller is 20-year-old Jeffrey Scullin Jr. Jeff told dispatch that he arrived home to find his soon-to-be mother-in-law, 49-year-old mother of three, Melinda Pleskovic, lying in a pool of blood on her kitchen floor. He had just been out to dinner with his 16-month-old daughter and Melinda's husband, 50-year-old Bruce Pleskovic. The only other person at home at the time was the couple's 18-year-old special needs son, Kyle. A second call was made minutes later by Melinda's husband, Bruce.
911, what's the city of your emergency?
Strongsville, Ohio. We have people on the way already.
Say address.
I think someone killed my wife. We've had people trying to break in our house all year.
I understand, sir. I need to ask you questions, okay? Are you there right now?
I just got in the door with my new son-in-law. My son was here with her.
Sir, what I want you to do is walk outside and stay in the front, okay? You said she's stabbed in the back?
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah, if you don't,
I think I don't think she's. Her face hit the ground and there's blood. There's a pool of blood.
See if she's breathing.
No, she is not. As soon as I got in.
Start CPR.
No.
Do you see anyone else in the home?
My son was here. He has Down syndrome. She sent me a text to meet me at Brew Kettle at 4:25. I didn't hear from her. I didn't expect this.
No, sir, I understand you're upset, but where's Kyle at in the home?
She's outside with Jeff, our son-in-law. You know, we've asked people to watch our freaking area. We've had people attempt to break in just this week.
Sir,
I don't know what's going on in the city.
Sir,
it's getting done here.
I understand you're upset, but can you give me a name, please?
No, you
Sir,
people drop them.
Sir, can you just take a deep breath? Is there any...
This whole city's getting freaking taken over.
Sir, I understand you're upset, but I need you to stay focused, okay? You don't think you can perform CPR, correct?
She's in the kitchen. I can't believe this.
Before emergency personnel had arrived on the scene, Bruce called again. This time he blasted Strongsville police for not investigating the strange incidents that had been happening at their house for months prior to Melinda's attack.
Okay, what's your...
We've had people trying to break in our house, like a lot. They flash our cameras, and we're getting targeted, and I don't know who's doing this, but I'm pissed.
Oh, do you see the medics there or the police there yet?
Everyone's here.
Okay, go speak with the police officer. I'm going to disconnect with you, okay?
I can't believe this.
Could you go speak with the officer that's there?
I was trying to text her all the time to go out to eat. It's our usual routine.
Sir, do you see the officer there?
What's that?
Do you see the officer?
Two officers here.
Okay, go speak with them. I'll hang up with you.
Yeah.
You know we've asked people to watch our freaking area, Bruce Pleskovic told the dispatcher. We've had people attempt to break in just this week. I don't know what's going on in this city. You've dropped the ball. Melinda, it turned out, had been stabbed more than 35 times and had suffered 3 gunshot wounds to her back before being left to die. Her devastated family, including Anna, age 20, Megan, age 19, Kyle, age 18, were certain that the horrific and savage attack was directly connected to the eerie instances that had tormented the household for over a year. As it turns out, they would be right. As for who was behind the attack, well, that would be Jeff. This is 20-year-old Jeff Scullin in his first interview with Strongsville police hours after the shooting and stabbing of Melinda Pleskovic.
You didn't say anything that night. Was that door open? The only thing that I can think of was the door being open.
Yeah, the sliding glass door was part two. You just talked about or mentioned the attempted break-in at that door. Tell me about that. So
I was in the kitchen doing dishes because I made a big mess feeding baby.
Okay.
I forget what I fed her, but it was something that I had to go to the bathroom and do dishes.
It's okay. Yeah.
And they were in there. The big dog, the big black dog, I don't know if you met him, he's Joey Big Black Lab. He was laying next to the door, to the left of the glass door. And the cats, they jump on the door when they want to let in. you let in, they jump on this glass door and it kind of wiggles a little bit. You know, it makes a noise.
They're outside.
So they're outside half the time, inside. So I just thought it was the cats. And then, it made a big noise, and the dog ran over and started barking like crazy. When I rounded that banister thing, I saw the guy's hand, and I realized someone was trying to get in.
Jeff had been living in the basement of the Pleskovic home since the early days of his fiancée Anna's pregnancy. The pair had still been teenagers when she had gotten pregnant, and Bruce and Melinda invited him to live in their home. They wanted to give the young couple a chance to get on their feet, as well as save some money for the wedding they had planned on October 28th of 2017. They also were fond of the big-hearted, easygoing Jeff. During her pregnancy, Anna took a job waitressing at Applebee's neighborhood bar and grill. Jeff took up relaxing, and after baby Aurora was born in June of 2016, some part-time child rearing. During his interview, Jeff sits with his arms folded and doesn't attempt to hide his irritation at being interviewed over his future mother-in-law's murder. At times, he overemphasizes his words like he's talking to someone who's a little slow on the uptake.
Gotcha. All right. So that's Sunday. Let's go back to
Where was I?
you said Mel came home at 12:30 approximately, and
We were gonna all meet for lunch. No, not lunch, dinner. And we were going to go to Applebee's, and then we were all meeting there.
who's all?
Me, Mel, Bruce, Anna's gonna be serving us. Kyle's gonna be there. And then she asked if my mom could be there because I had talked about trying to get them all together.
Did you see Megan?
No, Megan. I think Megan was at school.
Was she? Are you telling me this is going to happen at Mel's home?
No, this was all stuff we talked about the night before. But then she said she didn't want to do it. She had other stuff to do. And then she said she was going to the doctor for something with her foot.
When did Mel cancel on you?
When she walked in the door, she's like, "Hey, I have other stuff to do today. We're not going to dinner." And I was like, "Okay, whatever."
And you let your mom know?
No, I was going to surprise my mom and pick her up because it's hard to get a hold of her with stuff.
I'm surprised we need Mel canceled, so you're still got to go to dinner with her?
I was going to go to dinner either way to see Anna with the baby.
With your mom?
No, with the baby. I wasn't going to pick up my mom if she's not going. My Mel's.
Yeah, but so I asked you, did you call your mom and tell her that we're not meeting? And you said, no,
I was going to surprise my mother with the whole thing. She gets home right at like 5:30. I was going to go over there, pick her up, and then come back. But since you canceled, that isn't inconvenient.
Okay, so your mom doesn't know about this meeting?
No. I mean, she might have, unless I messaged it on the phone. It's a problem.
In his account, he provides a long and convoluted account of his activities that day. He'd crossed paths briefly with Melinda at midday before she'd headed to the doctor's. The family had plans to go to Applebee's that night, but Mel had told him that she was too busy to go. He then went to his dad's and later to his aunt's to rake some leaves before finally meeting Bruce for dinner. He manages to throw out there that his fiancée Anna's 18-year-old brother Kyle, who has Down syndrome and is nonverbal, is kind of scary and jealous of the baby. Jeff makes a point reminding detectives of the multiple attempted home invasions and other odd crimes that had recently plagued the family. Coincidentally, the eerie instances began just months after Jeff moved into the Pleskovic home. But according to Jeff, he'd played a key role in helping to drive away the would-be assailants.
Yeah.
And then Joey didn't bark. Moose did.
Yeah, Joey was like a pass out.
Okay. Where did Moose come from? Where was he?
He follows me around constantly. He was in the kitchen.
He's with you. Okay.
And the baby was sitting there with her bottle.
So Moose starts barking.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you went to the door.
And I saw the person's hand. That's it. And it was just a white, hairy hand. That's it.
When you say this hand, was the hand outside pointing the door, or is it
It's inside, like they were reaching for a lock or something. Like can I use your clipboard? Like if this is the door here, and that's like the top of the silver lock, and like it was like this, and it was pushing it. Like, I don't know if you thought you could reach it and flip a lock or something. That's all I'm gonna report from the other day.
do you have a hand?
Who knows?
Hoodie was up.
I don't know if it happened.
Did you see any like hair hanging down?
No, I saw elbows and ass basically when he saw it across.
I saw the shoes.
I couldn't tell you.
So Moose is trying to get out. Are you holding Moose back?
No, he got stuck in the door.
Oh, you really got stuck.
Got stuck. I had to push the door like at an angle. Like, with the guy pushing on it, put an angle, and when we let go, he got stuck like right here.
What did he do when Moose came to the door?
He moved. He went to the right, and he dragged. There was a, like the metal dog leashes, the really long ones.
Yeah.
You hook them to like a tree or whatever. They're hooked up to the bottom steps. Well, Moose, he's an idiot, and he runs in between chairs and the table, and then he'll run and drag them all.
Yeah.
Well, I think he got stuck because I heard a loud noise, like right when I tried to open the door. and all the chairs were pulled down the steps.
But Bruce isn't on the beach.
No, he wasn't. He was on earlier that day, though.
Oh, so he knocked all the chairs down earlier, you're saying?
No, he didn't knock all the chairs down. I think the guy dragged them down when he ran. I could be wrong. I didn't actually.
And then did he run across the field? Did he run into the backyard?
He ran straight back, and if you look from the glass window, there's like a shed directly, and then to the right, there's like a little thicket. He went straight to the shed, like in between the shed and the thicket, and then when he got like big bushes, there's like a little forest kind of thing. I don't know if it wouldn't be called forest, but there's like bushes and stuff where it sticks out, and then you can run around it, and that goes wherever. Never actually been over there.
Okay.
It's like bushes where it's just enough to block the view. And right when he got in between that, he ran to the right and left.
Okay.
But I'm not like a fast person, you could say. So I'm not going to chase someone who's going to get across that field before I can even get inside.
Okay.
But Jeff's account covers only a few of the disturbing happenings that had taken place in the Pleskovic home. There were many more. Jeff had reported seeing 3 masked strangers lurking in the backyard. Anna had once heard someone pulling on the handle of their back door. She'd peered behind the curtain only to be confronted by the horrifying sight of a hooded figure pressed close against the glass. Then there had been the many mysterious thefts, from cash, both small and large amounts, to a laptop, checkbook, house keys, and Melinda's car keys. The mysterious perpetrator had then repeatedly and intentionally set off her car alarm at all hours of the day and night. On one occasion, Bruce found nails hammered into the tires of his car. Melinda took to posting on Facebook about the endless and disturbing incidences. Whoever had stolen mics playing with a remote at 4:30 a.m. and kept starting the van at 7, she wrote. In another, set car alarm with stolen remote again last night and found nails in Bruce's tire. And getting on a first-name basis with the Strongsville police. No other residents in the neighborhood were experiencing these problems. Clearly, someone was specifically targeting them. But who? Police could find no evidence of anyone being outside the home, nor did they have any other leads. Both Melinda and Bruce began living in constant dread of the next attack. Just days before her murder, Jeff phoned the police to report an intruder had tried to enter the house by forcing the sliding back door open. That man was able to open the door about 3 inches, but couldn't get inside the house because Jeff had deliberately placed a ball bat to block the door. It was to be the last of the strange incidences. The next call Jeff would make to police would be to Melinda's murder. Shortly before Jeff had sat down with Strongsville police, Bruce Pleskovic was interviewed by the
All these people hanging around their house trying to break in, did they ever call the cops about this? They waited until this lady right here dies to call the cops?
same detective. He had given a very different and conflicting account. Bruce explained that he had been at work when he received a mysterious text from Melinda at 4:30 p.m. saying simply, "Meet me at Brew Kettle." Brew Kettle was a local brewery the family occasionally drank and ate at.
I usually work till 4, but I work at 4:30. I work till 4:30 today. Yeah, because since I was in late, I just wanted to, at least stay a little later, show a little, I'm not bailing, But but it's kind of weird. I was at my desk, and that's when I got the text to meet me at the Brew Kettle. And if you saw the statement I wrote tonight, it makes no sense that Mel doesn't meet you at Brew Kettle. Mel doesn't text like that. We always, our thing is we go out, since we both work, we go out to eat a lot, we meet up. But it's always about, hey, you want to go out to eat? You want to go out, or you want to eat at home? Or we go back and forth. We always take a while because we don't know what we have taste for. And you'll see the statement that I wrote. In hindsight, I realized that statement makes no sense, and I don't think she typed it. In hindsight of that happened. That makes no sense to me.
Still, Bruce had agreed to meet her there. When she didn't show up, he messaged to say that he was going to the gym. But then he'd had a call from Anna and repeated calls from Jeff asking him to meet them at Applebee's. Bruce couldn't keep up. The plans were changing every 2 minutes, but he agreed and arrived just after 7 p.m. Jeff was already drinking and waiting with baby Aurora. Bruce asked them where everyone else was. Jeff said he didn't know. Neither Jeff or Anna had heard anything from Mel, and her phone was off. Jeff also told Bruce that he'd been locked out of the house. The garage code wasn't working. Bruce was worried. They ate their meals and left for the car park. Bruce was impatient to get home, but Jeff asked Bruce to mind Aurora while he filled his truck with gasoline.
When we left Applebee's,
You guys walked out together?
yeah, we walked out together. And he said he grabbed a gallon, like he needed some gas in the truck. So he grabbed grabbed some gas from his dad's house. And he has these big 5-gallon gas tanks, and it's a big orange one, and he was filling up his car. He had the door open, the baby was there. So I was just hanging out waiting with him.
Where's this at?
This was in the parking lot in front of Applebee's, right in front of Applebee's. I was parked over here. He was a little bit over here. Why would he grabbed a gallon? He said he grabbed that 5-gallon gas out of his dad's garage. He grabbed it to fill it up. And he filled up his gas tank. I mean, it took a while for him to sit there. It took him a while to fill it a little bit. I could smell I was kind of standing he was by the gas. The gas can's back here. The door was open. I was kind of blocking the doorway just so the air wouldn't get on the baby. The baby was in the front seat. I carried out his leftover things and put them on the front dash. And I wanted to block. I could smell the fumes coming in, so I just kind of wanted to block the fumes from going to the baby too. And it was cold. The wind was blowing. It was cold, so I blocked the door for that reason. But it was just kind of different. It was like, And so then I went back to my car.
Different how? What do you mean?
Well, I'm thinking right now, it seems like from the time I got from Brew Kettle to Walmart to there, like someone was wasting my time.
He had the strangest feeling now that someone was messing with him, sending him on a wild goose chase, first to Brew Kettle, then Applebee's, and now hanging around in a car park while Jeff filled his gas tank. Once at the house, Bruce immediately noticed Mel's red car in the driveway. The lights in the house were on, but if she was home, why wasn't she answering her phone? Kyle answered the door. Usually, he was excited to see his dad, but this time he looked subdued. It took Bruce only minutes to see why. At first, he thought Mel had fallen. He couldn't make sense of what he was seeing and the odd position that she was in. And then he saw the blood. The floor was awash with it.
So when you come home, you're just going to the garage. Because you don't have the key to the front door.
Yeah, a lot of times I've been hitting the code on the garage door, and it opens, and we leave that door. Unlike usually, it's once in a while somebody bolts it.
Okay, so Anna gives Jeff a key at the restaurant. You guys come home, you ride together, and why is he knocking on the door if he has the key from Anna?
Because I have a feeling that the key, that's a good question. When Anna gave him the keys, was there one or two? I couldn't tell what was in his hand.
Did you see him physically put a key into the door? And
and it wasn't, somehow it wasn't working, so that's why you banged on it. But Kyle was able to unbolt it, and he's the one who let us in the house.
Okay.
And Jeff hit the doorbell about 5 or 6 times, bing, bing, like right in front of me. It's like, relax. But then what happened right after that? I don't know. I kind of looked in the kitchen, and then I think I went back outside. I'm always like, go in there, go back out, get this, go back. I am always like doing something. Actually, no, I went back to move the baby after he yelled at Kyle. I remember doing that. And then I don't know if he went back out, trying to figure out where. I'm thinking, okay, where's Mel? I'm waiting for Mel. Usually she'll say something. Hey, sometimes you'll hear, she'll say something, or maybe she's busy on something. And that's when I noticed the one chair. One of our chairs was Kyle's chair, which is right here in the front, was actually over here and laying down on the ground in front of the dishwasher. And that's when I walked in, and I'm like, that's when I looked over to the left, and I asked her if I asked her if she was. I couldn't believe the picture that happened right there. I was stunned. And then I noticed there's blood, and then there's blood by her face. She was face first. I thought maybe she slipped and fell, so I went this way, and I just kind of leaned down there. I didn't know what to do, and I'm looking, and I said, "Mel, are you okay?" I wanted to hold her, but then I'm realizing there's chunk. Little puddle here. There's a blood right here, face down, and I thought that's when I realized, And then I saw her back, and there was chunks. I asked her if she was okay. I wanted to say, "Hey, Mel, are you okay?" Mel, I just realized someone did something to her. I thought maybe she took some. She has medication. She had to take some stuff. And maybe she had like the because she always has a lot of medication. Maybe that's what maybe she lost her balance and just fell down, and maybe. And then that's when I realized I wanted to hold her or do something. But what do you do? I'm not a CPA. I just yelled. I just called 9. Jeff was immediately on this 911 call. Boom. He made the first call, and he was outside. I think I just got up and ran out. I just called myself. And
You said you told Jeff to call 911?
yeah, I yelled. I started yelling. Yeah.
When asked who he thought could do such a heinous act, Bruce could think of no one, certainly not a family member, he said. Yet, the more he talked, the more Jeff's name cropped up.
He'll burn bridges, and he has a history of burning bridges with some people, with friends. I don't know about this, but you find it. I mean, I know him enough to know, here, and I just kind of, whatever. He says things. He gets in people's personal lives and situations. He always have his opinion coming. He kind of crosses the line, goes in deeper. So he's doing that with me and Mel, and it's like he's texting her a lot, me a lot, just, really weird.
Saying what?
There's some texts that I had to delete.
What kind of text did you have to delete?
Well, he would get into with Mel about, and I don't know about teaching. Mel's a teacher. And he's always talking. The thing is, he's always domineering and he'll go along, but then he'll butt heads with you, and he'll say this and that. Well, he was up at the 4th of July. He was always talking, just getting really angry with every, in his conversations, and just just high energy. I mean, more so than usual. And then I found out, like, my sister, he never met my sisters. They were up there, and he's talking about in college and getting laid, picking up a girl. And it's like, Mark, what are you doing this? Oh, I thought she was cool. It's like, Mark, just don't bring that kind of stuff up. So anytime I do something, if I say something like that, I think after a while he thinks about it, and then he takes it the wrong way. Then the friendship started just going, we were hanging around too often, too much. And it was just, and then he sends these texts on purpose to people. I'm going to mess with this guy. He does this a lot. He's doing that to Mel. Then he sends them to me.
What was he saying to Mel?
Well, the last one was something about when he was really mad, when we kind of just were done and it was getting worse. Just calling her a liberal, like, you're a Libby, like sending these rapid fire texts that are very short. And then he's sending me stuff too about, he'll say something like, fine donuts, just something just bizarre and weird. And one of them was, I'm jacking off. I mean, I deleted all this crap, but if you have to pull that guy, it's like, after that, I was just like, me and Mel had an agreement, this is kind of avoiding this, not, then time would go by, and then he'd come back and want to hang out or just start messing, sending stuff. And it's like, that's when we had to say, just Mel had to tell him, don't delete she deleted his contacts, everything.
Bruce was adamant that Jeff wouldn't have hurt his wife. And yet, it had eaten away at him for months. Jeff was the kind of guy who was all talk, Bruce said. He made promises he never kept, and his stories were always changing. He said he was buying a house with cash from his grandparents, but couldn't show any paperwork. But there were other things that bothered Bruce and Melinda too. Melinda had taken a job of helping Anna arrange the wedding. Jeff only had to deal with the venue and his own invitations. But there was no evidence that Jeff had sent out any invitations. A week prior, the venue had contacted Mel to tell her that Jeff's card had been refused 14 times. They would lose the venue if payment wasn't received by the next day. Mel contacted Jeff, but as luck would have it, he'd been in a car wreck and was in the hospital. Mel had paid the venue. For the past 18 months, Mel and Jeff had butted heads, but now it was constant. Both Mel and Bruce found it odd that the strange incidences began not long after Jeff had moved in. Many times, Jeff had been the only one to see the intruder. They'd also had a weird vibe about Jeff's family, who seemed to be holding them at arm's length. Mel and Bruce had hoped to become friendly with the Scullens, but it was clear they didn't share the same sentiment. At one point, Jeff confessed to Bruce that his father didn't like Mel, couldn't stand her, in fact. Bruce was shocked. She hardly knew the man. Still, in the days before the wedding, they'd tried again to organize a dinner for the two families. Jeff's parents had turned down the invite. Oddly enough, on October 23rd, Jeff had told Mel that his mom wanted to take the family out to dinner to reimburse Bruce and Mel for the $6,500 they had paid for the wedding venue. But just hours later, the plans changed again. Jeff's mom wanted to meet just Mel. None of it made any sense, said Bruce, and yet somehow it did. Everything was filtered through Jeff. It was Jeff who made the dinner plans that never came off. Jeff, who had passed on that his father hated Mel. Jeff, who saw most of the prowlers. The person who had cottoned on to most of this had been Mel. She treated Jeff like a son, but had been deeply concerned about his behavior. Something in her gut was telling her that something was very seriously wrong, but her mind could hardly bear to go there. Melinda Pleskovic's funeral took place on October 28, 2017. That was the date that her daughter had been due to wed her high school sweetheart, Jeffrey Scullin. Instead of acting as a groom, Jeff now served as a pallbearer for Melinda. Melinda's husband Bruce was distraught, as were the 3 children, including Megan and Kyle. Kyle was not yet able to comprehend that his beloved and devoted mother had died. He'd spent her funeral looking hopefully out the window, waiting for her to arrive.
It wouldn't unmute me. Now it unmute me. I feel so bad for Kyle. He doesn't understand that his mother died and he's out waiting for her to come back home. Kyle has Down syndrome if you're just coming in. I feel really bad for this. He's in, I think, high school. So, yeah, kid.
Melinda's death prompted an outpouring of grief in the Strongsville, a much-loved middle school team, multiple soccer teams. She had been a mentor, a role model, and an inspiration. Someone with a contagious laugh and an indomitable spirit. Former students had stayed in touch with her for years after being in her class or on her teams. Her children and husband depended on her as the rock of the family. Now, a broken and distraught family and community gathered at the St. Paul Lutheran Church to pay their final respects to the woman who had brought so much to their lives and their town. In the days following Melinda's murder, the Pleskovic family had camped out together on the floor of one room in the house. The loss and horror was overwhelming. Worse still, they had no answers. Family and friends wondered if Melinda had been killed after interrupting one of the strange intruders who had terrorized them. Jeff suggested downloading apps to their phones so they could keep track of each other's whereabouts. After all, if there was a murderer on the loose, who knew which one of them could be next? Meanwhile, a picture was emerging for detectives, and it was not one that any of the family had seen coming.
4:30, 6 o'clock.
I didn't do it before 6.
No, you didn't. You were late. You texted your aunt. This jogs your memory. You texted your aunt at 5 o'clock. You haven't left yet. So you couldn't have left at 3 o'clock if you're telling me. Or shortly after 3. Because you were in Aurora already. Okay.
I texted you something that was on.
Because that's the beauty of technology and phones and surveillance cameras, because it doesn't lie. So I don't expect you to remember things in a minute. But the phones, your camera, I don't need to ask. Tells me exactly the timestamp. So you're not even at your aunt's house before 5. She says you don't even get her until 6. And by the time you left, you don't even have time to go back home. Back at the Applebee's. Jeff, do you know where I'm going with this?
I do, but
Where am I going with this?
you probably did say that I did it, right?
Jeff, you're talking something that didn't happen. Don't sit there and try to jog your memory. It didn't happen. Do you know what time Melinda really got home that day? Because it wasn't at 3 like you said.
It's when she got home. I don't know.
Well, let me just tell you this. It was much later than what you're telling me. Melinda doesn't come home when you say she comes home.
What time did she get home?
Doesn't matter. It's much later than what you're telling me. So you're old. Remember when we first talked? I questioned you. You were a little irritated about how long, and even at that point, I didn't know as much as I know now. And you said you left at 3. When I came home, you left right away. You said you get your hands until 4:30. And you know, I questioned. I said it's an awfully long time to from Blazing Star to Abigail is roughly what? How many miles? 4, 5. So I questioned it. You seemed aggravated that I even questioned it. So it's awfully long time to get from A to B, right? I guess when someone came and helped you 20, 30 minutes after you broke down. So now, not only this hour and a half becomes 3 hours. 3 hours. When you told me you left, and by the time you get to your dance, so what happened in that time frame?
And that's when she came home. You know, when she walked in the door, I walked out.
Jeff,
Judge, I'm stopping the video. Needs to be 1 hour and 27 minutes.
Only get a separate.
Yes, that will in fact be maintained. I'm sure that the state understands that. All right, thank you, Detective. You can step down.
All right, please.
Police took to unpacking the life and lies of Jeff Scullin, from his movements on the day of the murder to his outlandish claims. On the small things, Bruce's gut instinct had been spot on. There was no house being purchased. His parents had been out of the loop on invitations from the Pleskovics for years. His mother had never heard about any dinner with Mel, and his father had never mentioned disliking her. As for the strange incidences, police soon had solid reasons to believe that they had been entirely staged by Jeff. From the intruders to the turning on and off of Mel's car alarm. At times, he'd falsely claimed to see someone. Other times, been the masked man himself, or found drifters looking for cash to do it for him. As for Mel's murder, it was diabolical, and yet every piece of evidence pointed directly to his guilt. His timeline of events at the time of Mel's death had been false. He'd never been at his aunt's house, or his father's at the times he had indicated. A search of Jeff's car uncovered the final proof, a large tactical knife hidden inside Scullin's pickup truck. The blood on the blade was Mel's. The DNA on the handle belonged to Jeff. They also found blood stains around the passenger's door and track pants with traces of blood. Scullin had murdered Mel before meeting Bruce for dinner while his wife's body lay slain in their home.
20-year-old Jeffrey Scullin is charged with aggravated murder in the death of his fiancee's 49-year-old mother, Melinda Pleskovic, in their Strongsville home. The wedding was set just days after Pleskovic was shot and stabbed to death in her kitchen. Instead, Scullin was a pallbearer at his soon-to-be mother-in-law's funeral.
You have to wonder if Melinda found something out that was going to stop the wedding, is what I wonder. And I think it's really sick that he was a pallbearer.
Just days before the murder, Scullin, who lives in his soon-to-be in-law's home on Blazing Star Drive, called 911 to say someone tried to break in the back door.
Okay, what's your emergency?
Someone just tried to walk into my house.
Okay, what do they look like?
I didn't really see him. I saw a blue hoodie.
This whole case has Strongsville resident Daniel Stevenson, who knows the family well, wanting to know what the motive was for the gruesome murder.
But you just have to wonder what was going on beforehand, what triggered it. I mean, with such rage, like, did she find
being placed in a police car. And there's this, the couple's wedding registry for a wedding that now never.
Polygraph test. He failed the polygraph, and after a son had discovered his gun in the basement, he had accused Anna of cheating on him. Mel had flown into a rage. She'd taken the gun upstairs, he said, and had been pointing it roughly in his direction. In self-defense, he snatched it off and fired 3 times in full view of her son Kyle. He didn't remember stabbing her 35 times. He offered no further motive for the crime.
I reached up and just kind of snatched it from her. She wasn't holding it. I grabbed it when I was pulling it away from her. It kind of just went off. And after that, that's where it was like, I don't really exactly understand. But everything's all like blurry. I don't know. It's kind of just like I lost control, I think.
On the 31st of October, it was announced that Jeffrey Scullin Jr. had been arrested and charged with the murder of his future mother-in-law, Melinda Pleskovic. A grand jury would also indict Scullin on charges of felonious assault, tampering with evidence, and making false claims. Prosecutors argued that Scullin had a history of disagreeing with Melinda and had planned the murder for many months, part of which had included concocting the phony break-ins. Jeff pleaded guilty, but with a caveat.
That's what I was
He wasn't
wondering.
actually guilty, his lawyer said. He just wanted to spare the family.
That's what I was thinking. The same thing. I just forgot what I was thinking.
As in himself, the trauma of a trial and all the damning information that would come out about the family, as in
That's
himself. Scullin was sentenced to life in.
I was just thinking, that why was their house the only one that had so many attempted break-ins? Exactly, because they were phony, just like the man just said.
Prison without the possibility of parole for 33 years. Before the sentence was read out, Anna Pleskovic, who narrowly escaped marrying Sullen, provided a victim impact statement.
Wow.
She said, Jeffrey Scullin should never be allowed to walk free again. He is a manipulator, a pathological liar, a thief, a sociopath, and above all else, a sadistic murderer. He shows no remorse and deserves to spend his days away from the innocent.
Good morning.
My name is Melinda Pleskovic. This is kind of just
That's the daughter
my point is,
or
Jeffrey
someone
Scullin should
related.
never be allowed to walk free again. The extent of his monstrous actions has forever crippled the lives of everyone he knows. My mother, Melinda, will never be coming back, and that egotistical boy has absolutely no reason or right to rip her away from us. I say boy and not man because a man doesn't harm his loved ones. A man owns his actions and decisions without hiding behind lies. A man supports his family and would do anything for his children. Jeff has done none of these things. Because of his heinous crimes, my brother lost the best mother a child with Down syndrome could possibly have. My father lost his best friend and soulmate. My sister and I no longer have our smart, beautiful, and respectable role model mother to guide us. And my daughter, Aurora, lost her cherished Grammy. The worst part is that
Oh,
someday
she was
I'll
a
have to sit
grandma.
her down and explain this horrifying nightmare to her. I'll have to find a reason as to why her father chose incarceration and lies instead of his baby girl. And to be honest, I have no idea where he can begin. Jeffrey needs to never have the option to inflict this pain on another human being again because he most definitely will kill again. He is a manipulator, a pathological liar, a thief, a sociopath, and above all, a sadistic murderer. He shows no remorse and deserves to spend his days away from the innocent. Sincerely, myself, Melinda's daughter, and his ex-fiance.
I'm Megan Pleskovic. I'm a junior in school. Your Honor, our lives will never be the same because of Jeffrey Scullin. My mom was the face of compassion, love, perseverance, and because of him, she is gone. My mom faced countless numbers of setbacks and negative situations, but she always found a way to get through them and do so in a positive and enthusiastic manner. My mom was a fantastic mother, both loving and tough. As I got older, she quickly turned into my best friend. We would talk about everything under the sun, and I think one of the hardest parts now is not being able to call her out or after something great or something horrible happens. She taught me to be passionate about things I believe in, to be non-judgmental, and to always stick up for myself and others around me. She was my biggest fan, and I grew up being hers. My last collegiate softball game, she drove 5 hours to support me, and after the game, she was the first person I cried to behind the dugout. She loved all of his kids and her granddaughter with all her heart. As for Jeffrey Scullin, my mom and dad opened their home to him because they're good, loyal people. My mom cared for him as a part of our family and bent over backwards for him, yet he took her life in one of the most violent ways imaginable. I wanted to feel the terror and pain that my mom must have experienced, but because of his lack of remorse and sick, twisted mind, I don't think he ever will. Nor do I think he cares about the grief and pain that his own family, his daughter, or the rest of us feel. He is a selfish, sadistic monster that deserves to never again see the light of day. He manipulated my entire family into thinking he could be trusted, although he stole from us and plotted the unthinkable. He took away my dad's wife, my siblings, and my mom, and his daughter's Grammy. He took away a life that gave nothing but goodness for reasons that we will probably never know. No punishment will ever bring back the incredible human being that my mom was, but knowing that Jeffrey Scullin will spend the rest of his pathetic life in prison would frankly tell us. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Bruce Pleskovic, BRUCE, in January of 2017, on Melinda's birthday, we were all sitting in the family room and Jeff had announced that we would be grandparents. It was a bit of a shock and we were taken by surprise, but we were also excited about the arrival of our first grandmother. We wanted to help Jeff and Anna out as best as we could, so we offered to let them live in the basement so they could work and save up money for the next year or so. We allowed them to live free and help with raising the baby as well, since we have experience raising three of our own. This would help them in the transition when they got married. We had a loving, caring, and normal household. And we took Jeff in as one of our own. Later in the year, we had 3 instances where money would go missing. That was car keys going missing. Then the reported burglaries that we learned after the fact. Over the past year, it has been very therapeutic for me to keep up with our many circles of friends as much as possible. It has helped with the emptiness, loneliness, depression, and hurt with the loss. I can sense the pain, shock, and anger on all their faces when I see them. But when we get together, we make the best of it, have fun, rehashing memories and stories over. Now that I've seen the interviews with the detectives and the overwhelming evidence, just continuation of maintaining his innocence doesn't allow our family to heal and receive closure. He never provided a reason why or accepted responsibilities for his actions leading up to the night of Melinda's horrific murder. Jeff also seems to portray himself as a victim in all this when he's the one who has caused all the pain and suffering. I find it really sad. The week after Melinda was killed, his time of arrest, he calmly carried on as if nothing of significance seemed to have happened. He didn't want us to put apps on our cell phones so he knew where we all were. I find that a bit scary. I'm aware of a couple of situations in his past involving him with firearms. Between these situations and Melinda's seemingly planned murder, I truly believe Jeff would kill again in the interest of people's lives like ours. I'm asking the court for justice and a verdict that reflects the unending pain and suffering he has caused my family and all the people who live in love your hero. Thank you. Yes.
The victim, Melinda Pleskovic, just 49 years old, was savagely murdered by you, Mr. Scully, in the kitchen of her home, which she had generously made your home. You shot her times and stabbed her a minimum of 35 times. You did so while her son, Kyle, who has Down syndrome, must have been or was in the home. You did so with your own daughter and her granddaughter, Aurora, close by. Then you had the audacity to sit down for dinner with her husband, Bruce, where their daughter, Anna, worked. Then you returned to the scene of your vicious crime and allowed Bruce to go into the home that he shared with his wife and children and find his wife on the kitchen floor in a pool of blood. You served as a pallbearer at Melinda Pleskovic's funeral, knowing that you were the person responsible for inflicting upon her loved ones and many friends all of the pain, shock, sorrow, and heartache they were experiencing and continue to experience a year after you murdered her. I did receive 51 victim impact statements to include those from her husband, her two daughters, sister, brother, nephew, colleagues, friends, soccer friends, and students' parents. I read each and every one of those letters, and the words used to describe Mel include, and I've taken these directly from those letters: awesome teacher, amazing friend, the rock that held her family together. There is no more serious offense than what you committed upon what has only been described as a wonderful wife, mother, friend, colleague. For legal reasons, you pled no contest. Of course, that's hurt the family because there's no true acknowledgement or remorse that you displayed at this point in time. But again, I understand that you have legal rights.
No
and
contest.
rights.
Right.
So I
You
cannot by
freaking
law
did it.
technically hold that against you at this juncture. But again, based upon the letters that I've read, you've not shown any remorse to anyone throughout this process. And again, as explained to me in those letters, of Mel's family and friends who had the opportunity to speak with you and watch you in the days following her murder, to include at her funeral, find your actions and attitude after you murdered her to be incomprehensible and abhorrent. And what I think so tragic is that Mel's son, Kyle, does not understand where she is and continues to look for his mom every day. That is so sad. And you did.
Yeah, very much so.
Therefore, on the aggravated murder count one that you pled guilty to, the court imposes a sentence of life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 30 years. The 3-year firearm specification, or the 3 years for that firearm specification, must be served prior to and consecutive to that term, meaning that you will not be eligible for parole until you have served for 33 years. With regard to count 5, tampering with evidence, that's the felony of the 3rd degree. The court is imposing a prison term of 36 months on that count. With regard to count 6, making false alarms, the misdemeanor of the 1st degree, the court is imposing a period of local incarceration of 180 days. And with regard to count 7, endangering children, again a misdemeanor of the 1st degree, the court's imposing a period of local incarceration of 180 days.
Several weeks after her death, the Strongsville women's varsity team created a soccer tournament on Kelly's Island called the Mel Cup, after Melinda Pleskovic. Over the weeks that followed, another initiative began, a movement for random acts of kindness with the hashtag #It'sOnMel. For all those who loved her, random acts of kindness embodied the spirit of Melinda. She gave everything of herself and asked nothing in return. If you found this
That's
case
pretty.
compelling, don't forget to like the video, comment down below your take on it, and subscribe to
I subbed. Let me give you this link and you can sub too. Let's see. And I'm coming live right right back again, but I need to change the title. I was trying to change it. It wouldn't let me change it on Facebook or X. Because the one that I wanted to do, the text murder, I can't do because it's a TV show. So oh, here is the link. And I think the other live is members only because my little members I have never done anything with you guys. And I want to give you an incentive for being a member. So I don't know if it still is, but I think it is. I have to check it. If it's not, it will be. Okay. Bye, y'all. It won't let me hit end stream any day now. StreamYard. Let